Well, we finally got it after what felt like an eternity of waiting. The Mario Kart World Direct was shown off this morning, and some people are even more excited than we were already, and this video reaffirmed them why they should buy this game, whilst others are wondering why they got up so early to learn about time trials. So we'll get into all of that right now, today's Mood News video. So welcome everyone, I'm madz. Sorry I've been sort of weirdly wobbly the last week. I went off to England to play Mario Kart and to play a bunch of other Switch 2 games at the Nintendo Switch 2 London Experience. Nintendo kindly invited me out there, but I was still sad I did not have my proper setup. I wasn't able to really get out as many videos as I wanted to, so I'm really happy to finally be back. I literally flew in yesterday afternoon, slept, watched this, and now I'm recording. So it's been a little bit crazy for me, but I saw this, and overall, my initial reaction was a tiny bit of like, ooh, I've sort of already seen this, and a lot of people were saying that overall, were saying, well, a lot of the information which was shown off in this Direct, we already knew about. It could have been like 5 minutes in terms of it was just showing off new stuff, and I sort of understand with that, but here's the thing. Obviously, if you obsess over this game, like you or me, you might not find that much new information in this Direct. Although, like, Nintendo at the same time did sneak in a few little details and Easter eggs for us, which I really do appreciate. It makes me think that this game is hiding a lot more stuff than what we know, especially like from other details we've seen, like the boat I found. There was no details about a boat, there was a detail about a helicopter, but there wasn't anything about a boat, no siree. And it made me realize, like, very quickly within watching this, which like completely dissipated me thinking like, oh wow, they're showing this again, like, most of this information hasn't really been shown off in that much of a professional, official format. It's usually just being like, oh, someone discovered this whilst racing during one of these events, like how I did in London. And even still, they didn't show off like some aspects like I was talking about with the boat, but it made me quickly know that the reason and the purpose of this Direct was to make people more familiarized and see the differences between Mario Kart World and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because some people, more casual gamers, might still not know the differences, and having a single video for them to understand, okay, this is what makes this Mario Kart different, I think is quite important, and I think they did a pretty decent job at that through this video. It could have been maybe a tiny bit better if they put a bit more focus on the open world and what to really do, because for most of it, especially at the beginning, they're talking about sort of things we already know, the characters, the Grand Prix, all this stuff. And even for someone who isn't rigorously following all the Switch 2 news, they might already be like, oh, okay, I know about this. Of course, it's Mario Kart, you do the Grand Prix. They could have made it a little bit more pushed in that direction of showing like, okay, this is Grand Prix, but not how you think, and sort of really sort of highlight how starkly different this Mario Kart is. But really, that is a bit of a nitpick, and maybe they already discussed and thought about that idea during, like, you know, their marketing meetings and all that stuff of how they could present this game the best light possible. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and I think it's still, as it is a really good example of showing off the game to someone who isn't really that familiar with it. But again, the little details, it's a little bit, obviously, we didn't get any new characters shown off or anything explicit like that. I still think there will be. I think there's characters they're hiding. I think there's a lot of stuff they're hiding. And it really gives me the vibe that this game is going to be sort of like Zelda was on Twitter, whenever you'd be like, oh my god, I just found this crazy thing and stuff like that. And you know, great for like playground discussions, I guess, or like, you know, that sort of same vibe, like, oh my god, I saw this, have you guys seen this? Because in the trailer, I saw items falling from the sky as like an item box blizzard or something with Toadette. I don't know what was going on there, but there was just like hundreds and hundreds of ironbox falling through the sky, I think near Sky High Sunday or something. I'm like, what is going on? What is the purpose of this? Does this happen during a race? Is this just in free roam? What is happening? There's a lot of mysteries, which I'm really, really happy with, because I think they know that a lot of these are mysteries, a lot of these are very exciting things for the first time. They want us to experience those for the first time. And so I think actually that is probably the mentality with this, where we want to keep things hidden, and then for people who are already wanting to get the game, they can go right in, experience it, already sold on it, and then within a few days, within a few weeks of seeing all these clips and people doing some crazy stuff within the game, anyone who is maybe concerned or unsure about the game goes, oh my god, wait, this is actually really cool. What, you can do that? You can do this? Okay, I gotta get this, I gotta check this out. So maybe that's the mentality and keeping the mystery. So yeah, those are the two sides I see to this trailer. There's the mystery side of things for players who are over-analyzing and looking at Easter eggs and stuff, and then there's the side of like, we need to establish what this new Mario Kart is for new players, because again, Mario Kart is Nintendo's biggest video game, and it's played by a lot of casual people. And so I think explaining exactly what makes this different is probably the most important thing you need to do. Because I feel now like I could send this video to, you know, my sister, my brother, and get them to watch it, and then they would fully understand, okay, this is what makes this Mario Kart different, this is pretty cool. They probably wouldn't watch it because it seems too long, but still, you know, you get what I mean. Like, if you're in a similar situation or similar position, you could show this game off. But even still, there are some new features which they did show off during this. Now, obviously, after explaining the open world, explaining the different modes, day-night racing, all this stuff, we did learn about the mission mode sort of thing, which happens in free roam. There's P-switches, which are pretty cool. There's these coins, there's these question mark panels, and going over them, you get, I think, badges, which you can customize your carts with. You can put these stamps or these sponsors, which I was talking about in a previous video, over your existing carts. One of them, when you collect the Peach coin, it doesn't look like a stamp. It looks like a weird silhouette of Wario, so maybe those Peach coins you can use for something else. I really think there's a mystery there, which isn't related to the P-switch coins or anything. But the P-switch challenges seem super, super fun. The fact that you can do some where you have to collect coins across rails. There's other ones where you have to like avoid armadillos they showed, which seemed really cool. Having mission mode, but it just being sort of like casual within the world, I think is really, really fun. It's going to be quite exciting to try and track all of them down, because before with mission mode, right, you would do a mission and then you would just click next mission, next mission, next mission. That's how it was on the DS. Now with this, it's like, okay, I did this mission, where's another one? I have to go out and explore and find where the other one is. So that is really exciting in itself. I wonder if there's little stamps you can put down or badges or things you can place to help you get around the world. Maybe? I don't think so. I think it'd be kind of crazy if there was. We also finally learned about battle mode, which was quite exciting. We learned that there's Big Donut returning. There's some new tracks. The music, I can't go over the music. Sorry if I'm jumping all over the place, but the music for this is absolutely brilliant. And also, sorry, I'm jumping around again with versus mode. They explained that like you can traditionally do like the 3 laps on each course and just keep it like that. But when you're picking a track to do, you can also choose from going from one place to another. Like you can do the intermission just as its own course, which is really, really cool. But on top of that, when you're doing versus race, I'm pretty sure you can do any track to any track. You don't have to just do the surrounding ones. You can do Peach Stadium all the way to Bowser's Castle, all the way to Airship Fortress, and just do a full-on road race from one side of the map to the other, which is so, so cool. I can imagine doing some really fun custom tracks where it's like, okay guys, we're starting off all the way in Dino Jungle, we're gonna get all the way up to Bowser's Castle on the other end of the map. And you know, there's a lot of fun which can be done with that, and I cannot wait for that. And what's also cool is they didn't necessarily show off a mirror mode, but the idea I sort of came up with was like, oh, well, you don't really need one because you have like the reverse tracks, or like maybe we'd get like a reverse tracks instead. And we kind of got that because I guess instead of mirror mode, if you're doing, for example, Moo Moo Meadows to Mario Circuit, you can do that. You can do Moo Moo Meadows to Mario Circuit, but you could also do Mario Circuit to Moo Moo Meadows. So I think that's a really fun aspect as well, where, oh, you can do all these courses, but you can also drive them backwards, where there's some other little elements you can do. Oh, it's so sick. And throughout the trailer, we also learned about the new tricks, which they showed. You can now hold down the drift button and you wherever you are, and you can grind and do a little hop. And you can hop left and right. I did this during the demo. But what's so cool about it, and what I wish I knew when I was doing the demo, is if you hold it down and you flip, you can start grinding on walls. And that's like one of the easiest ways to get onto a wall. You can also use a feather, I believe, and other elements. But the wall grinding feature mixed with the kart bouncing, whatever it's called, mixed with the rail grinding, it seems so cool. And they also showed off this other thing called rewind, which at first I was like, it's a bit strange. So basically, if you miss a jump, if you do something incorrect, you can rewind and go back to an earlier part in the track. And I'm like, oh, that seems sort of interesting, I guess, for like single player. All right, well, yeah, whatever. But what's crazy about it is when you're rewinding, everyone else is still going forward. And I'm like, oh, wait, that's actually kind of huge. That means like you can choose to like basically reset yourself, but at the same time, everyone else is still going. You're not resetting everyone else. They're still moving along. I don't know if that's going to be in online or in multiplayer. If it is, I don't think it would be that broken. I think it would actually be kind of fun to do multiplayer, especially if it doesn't affect anyone else. I think that could be a good like feature which you could turn on or off. Maybe you don't want it for like competitive or anything, but for having that for like just casual races and practice with your friends seems pretty cool. I think that is definitely something which they should keep. Something which is definitely a little nitpick from me at least is when they're showing off free roam multiplayer, they're like, this isn't free roam, this is just the lobby. That is a little bit like not disappointing, but it's a little bit funky for me at least, because because I'm looking at this and say, okay, well, this is technically just free roam, but with your friends, and I guess the mission modes are disabled. So it's free roam with your friends, but there's always this big banner saying like, oh, choose a mode, choose a thing. It's like, if you can't toggle that like little banner at the bottom to disappear whilst you're doing free roam, it's going to be a little bit annoying to always have that big text at the bottom saying like, choose a lap, choose a race. It feels like, okay, we gotta get the main thing going. Again, if you could just like press minus and toggle that to jump down, I think that would be perfect. But as that is, I'm like, ooh, okay, well, I doubt anyone cares about that, but like, I don't want to have this big flashing text at the bottom of my screen when I just want to cruise around with my friends. So hopefully that's not an issue, but that's really just a nitpick. And guys, come on, for teasers, we got a Rob bike, which is crazy. We obviously got Rainbow Road teased, which is quite exciting. And the helicopter. Those are 3 main big ones. I'm sure there's more, which we'll discover as time goes on throughout the day. But those are my initial thoughts. I think this was definitely a good selling point for Mario Kart World for anyone who wasn't sold on it already. However, I can totally understand if you feel slightly underwhelmed that like, oh, they didn't show off more characters, they didn't do this. I would say wait and see. I definitely feel like they're hiding a lot of things, which has got me even more excited. Maybe it will get me even more disappointed later on. Maybe I'm just hyping myself up, being like, oh, they didn't show this. Oh, this is going to be in the game. Oh, PD Piranha hasn't been shown off yet. He will definitely be, you know, like, got to keep my excitement limited. But I wouldn't say just be like, oh, they didn't show it, they showed everything off. Like, there's definitely some more mystery to this game, which is pretty cool. But as the game is by itself, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to play this.